I am not there live. Can start.
Can we start, sir?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
yes, please.
Hello, everyone. Happy afternoon. Welcome to Recall and Revise Marathon session for CA Inter Paper 5 Advanced Accounting. I'm Hemnath. I'm a CA final student. I'm very happy to host this session. I'm delighted to welcome GP Kasturi Rangan sir, who will be taking today's marathon session, which will provide the students the approach towards the exams. And I would like to welcome all the CA intermediate students. Students can post their question in the YouTube live chat box. We will be taking up the questions at the end of the session. We are having the schedule till 5 o'clock. So last 10 minutes, we will be taking up the questions from the students. So I would like to introduce about our faculty for the benefit of the students. CA Kasturi Rangan sir, he have completed BSc and he's a fellow chartered accountant. Sir have got first rank in his college with 99%, and he's a founder of Kasturi Associates. Sir have been taking classes for various branches of ICAI and various other private institutions also. The subjects in which Sir is interested is accounting, advanced accounting, financial reporting. Second is auditing and direct taxation. So I would like to hand over it to you, sir, for taking up this session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Hemnath, for the good introduction. I'm really pleased to be part of this initiative by the CA Institute. It's nice to have invited me. First of all, thank you for the invitation. Friends, it's a great pleasure for me to be presenting this session to you on the approach towards the examination. I'm sure all of you are well prepared for the November 2022 exam. It's almost 15 days from now. This is a session which will give you some inputs about how to strategize for an exam, how to manage your time in the exam, how to be prepared during the exam. And of course, I'll also be discussing with you about the relative importance of various chapters. If time permits, we will also attempt some problems on some selected chapters. This is what is the idea based on which this session is being conducted. I'm sure this session will be of great value and use to you in your preparation towards examination for this November 22 exam. Now I'll be sharing a screen with you, a presentation with you. Based on that, we will be starting our discussion. Is it fine to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, friends. Now, as you can see, there is a PPT presentation on the screen, which talks about the presentation strategies for advanced accounting in CA Inter, and myself, Kasturi Rangan, Chartered Accountant. As Hemnath was introducing, I've been teaching CA students for more than 25 years. I'm a faculty of the CA Institute for more than 18 years. I also used to prepare for exams like this, friends, when I was a student, but this kind of opportunity, these kind of sessions were actually not there. So we had to put through entirely on our own. But luckily for you, friends, today we have these kind of opportunities. All leading faculties come and talk to you, discuss with you, motivate you, provide you various tips for preparation and the presentation strategies. Let us go forward, friends. This is particularly related to paper 5, group 2, advanced accounting. So I will keep my discussion pertaining to that one. Okay, let's start. Now, friends, I'm sure all of you are aware of the question paper pattern, but it is worth emphasizing what is a pattern. What has been the pattern so far? The pattern so far in the examination has been like this. Question 1 is a compulsory question carrying 20 marks. Friends, all of you know that question 1 is always compulsory as far as CA exams are concerned in every paper. It's nothing different as far as advanced accounting is so concerned. So a compulsory question carrying 20 marks. Now, will it be one full problem carrying 20 marks? That is a real question. As far as memory goes, right, I've seen in question 1, not one problem carrying full 20 marks. This will be of some subdivisions. Like there'll be 4 or 5 subdivisions in question number 1. Each may carry 5 or 4 marks. Put together, we get 20 marks. Then from questions number 2 to 6, 5 questions will be asked. Of that, we are supposed to answer only 4. That means we have a choice to leave one question. Each question, like the first question, carries 20 marks. So 20 marks compulsory, you have to write, and any 4 out of 5, 20, 4, 20s are 80. So therefore, the total marks which you have to attempt is 100 marks, whereas the paper will be for 120 marks. Sometimes it can be for 125 also. For example, there is an internal choice in the question number 6. Maybe 5 different subdivisions are given. You're asked to write answer for only 4 of that. So there is an internal choice. So therefore, the question paper for maybe will be definitely for 120 marks, but it can be for 125 marks also. But in each of these questions, again, it's not one problem carrying full 20 marks. The subdivisions are possible. Sometimes it is possible that there may be 1 or 2 questions which will carry full 20 marks also. So it's a very simple pattern, friends, nothing complicated. But I would also like to tell you, question 1 being a question on compulsory question, it will be on accounting standards only. So far, the pattern has been like that. All the questions, all the subdivisions of the question 1 will be based on accounting standards. How many accounting standards we are supposed to learn? Around 14 accounting standards we are supposed to learn as far as Group 2 Advanced Accounting paper is concerned. Out of that, of course, we have Accounting Standard 14 on amalgamation, Accounting Standard 21 on consolidation. So barring that, and the 12 accounting standards we are supposed to learn. Out of these 12 accounting standards, you are going to get 4 or 5 in question number 1 as a compulsory question, each carrying 4 or 5 marks. That is how the paper is normally set. So therefore, what do we understand? Question 1 being compulsory, and it is generally based on accounting standards. It's very important that we don't miss out on that particular chapter. Question number 2 to 6 will be from various other chapters. But you might ask me, sir, whether any chapter we don't have to study. the paper setters are clearly given instruction that questions from every chapter should be covered. Mostly all chapters will be covered. One or two may probably not be covered, about which nobody can make a prediction. So there are only 8 or 9 chapters in advanced accounting in group 2. So first question is accounting standard. The remaining 5 questions, at least if you take 2 subdivisions in each, there are 5 into 2, 10 questions possible. There are only 9 chapters. So from this, what do we understand is, in the paper, you are going to see a question from every chapter. So therefore, you cannot miss out on any chapter. But one important information I would like to tell you, based on the question paper pattern and what question will appear in, what chapter will appear in question 1 and others, we can come to an easy conclusion that we should not skip accounting standards. As you know well that question 1 is compulsory. If you don't attempt that, you are going to attempt for 80 marks only. So in order to attempt 100 marks in the exam, question 1 has to be attended compulsorily. Then only it is possible to complete the full paper. So therefore, do not skip accounting standards, friends. Very important chapter. I am sure all of you are well prepared with that chapter. So the tip that you take from this slide is, do not skip accounting standards. By chance you miss that, you will be attending 80 marks only. Yes, there are people who have skipped compulsory question, attended 80 marks. They also managed to get 60 or more than 70. But one thing is clear, you cannot get more than 80. So if you're aiming at, marks in excess of 80, you are supposed to attend the compulsory question, and therefore you cannot miss accounting standards. So keep this in mind. I know accounting standards are difficult. 12 accounting standards are there. Out of that, 4 or 5 may appear in the exam. So which standard will come, we do not know. And mostly these are all of theoretical nature, which may carry, some problems also, but still, you don't have a choice, dear friends. You will have to focus on the chapter on accounting standards. Not only from exam point of view, dear friends, even from your knowledge point of view, from your career point of view, it is very essential that you have complete understanding of accounting standards. So therefore, take this opportunity to gain full knowledge and of course use it in order to secure the maximum marks in the examination. So is it not very simple? One question is compulsory. Out of the remaining 5, outright 4 only. And what question will come? What chapter will come in question 1? Accounting standard. What about the other chapters? That's anybody's guess. I do not want to make any prediction here. Okay. Let's move on, friends. Now, you might be interested in knowing, sir, which chapter is very important, which chapter is not very important. How do we prepare? For which chapter we should give more time? For which it is sufficient to spend less time? Like that, there might be some thoughts in your mind. Now, what I have done is, I've listed down all the chapters in group 2 in advanced accounting. I have given to each chapter a category based on its relative importance and also how frequently it appears in exam and the quantum of marks you can expect from those particular chapters. This is not any blueprint given by the CA Institute. If you really want to get an idea about how the marks may appear in the exam, it's better you log into the Board of Studies in CA Institute website. The weightage for each chapter is given there, most probably when the paper is set, that weightage is followed. But based on my research and experience as a teacher over a period of so many years, I have categorized the chapters in Group 2 Advanced Accounting under a certain manner. I would like to share that with you purely from the exam preparation perspective. Okay, let us see that. Yeah, in Group 2 Advanced Accounting, there are 9 chapters. I have given the list of all the chapters: partnership accounts, amalgamation of companies, reconstruction of companies, holding company accounts, accounting standards, company accounts. Under that, ESOP buyback, the liquidation of companies. Under that, we have the liquidator's final statement of accounts, and then the statement of affairs, and financial statement of banking companies and NBFCs. These are the 8 chapters, 9 chapters that you will find in your paper 5 Advanced Accounting in Group 2. Is it not, friends? Now, what is this category? How I decided the category? Very simple, friends. As you know, category A means what? Very important. C means least important. B is of moderate category. Based on what I came to the conclusion. Of course, for accounting standard, I given A+. That means what? It is a most important chapter. As I told you in the previous slide also, this is one chapter which you cannot miss at all. Why? From this chapter, there's going to be a question which is compulsory, carrying 20 to 25 marks. 20 is assured, 25 is also possible. Because sometimes in the compulsory question, 4 questions on standards appear. After that, in the question number 6, there may be one subdivision on accounting standard carrying 5 marks. So in my opinion, accounting standard is a topmost priority. So I've given the maximum mark or grade for that as A+ category. That A+ category is based on 2 things. 1, does it appear in every exam? Yes. What is the quantum of marks from that? Maximum 20 to 25. And the other thing, why I give A+, it's because it's mandatory. You can't afford to skip that at all. So therefore, among the 9 standards, which is the most important standard? Accounting standard, carrying 20 to 25 marks, compulsory question, you can't avoid it. Then there are certain other important chapters, namely partnership accounts, amalgamation of companies, holding company accounts, and company accounts. Particularly partnership accounts. It's a sure question, a full problem carrying at least 15, maximum 20 marks can appear in the examination. Similarly, a problem on amalgamation of companies also would carry 15 to 20 marks in the exam. Of course, we have another chapter called reconstruction of companies, which will cover the internal reconstruction. I put it under B category. The reason is, very frequently you get a problem on amalgamation covered by AS 14. Whereas internal reconstruction is not covered by AS 14, so it doesn't appear in every exam. If I give A category to a particular chapter, it means what? You get the maximum marks and you're certain that will get a question from that. So therefore, accounting standards, sure question, 20-25. Partnership accounts, short question, 15 to 20 marks. Amalgamation of companies, also short question, 15 to 20 marks. Holding company accounts also is sure. It appears almost in every exam, but the marks will be maximum 15, minimum 10. Sometimes it can go below 10 also, depending upon the difficulty level. Therefore, these are the most important chapters you have to focus. So if you focus on these 4 chapters, namely partnership accounts, amalgamation of companies, accounting standards, and holding company accounts, how much you can expect in the exam from this? Minimum is 30 plus 30, 60. Maximum is 40 plus 40, 80. That means if you focus on these 4 chapters, I'm sure you will be getting problems from these chapters carrying around 60 marks minimum, 80 marks maximum in the exam. So on an average, you can say 70 marks out of 120. I already told you the paper is for 120 marks. 70 out of 120, which is almost 60% of the paper, will be from these 4 chapters only. Because everything else, comes under B category. Let me also finish C category first, NBFC. Non-banking financial company. This is not a very important chapter, friends. It doesn't appear every exam. It may not appear every 2 exams or every 3rd exam. But when it will appear, it's a $1 billion question. Nobody is aware of that. Suddenly, out of the blue, the paper setter want to test you on NBFC. A question on this may appear. But even if it appears in the exam, you need not bother. It will not be for more than 8 marks. Minimum is 5, maximum 8, not more than that. Doesn't appear pretty regularly. So what about the B category? I put company accounts A, but within the company accounts, I put ESOP B, buyback B. What does it mean? See, company accounts is sure to appear in the exam. But whether ESOP will appear or buyback will appear, we do not know. So therefore, what I'm trying to tell you is, there is a sure question from company accounts covering either ESOP or buyback, but whether ESOP will come or buyback will come, you will have to find out from the paper only. So if ESOP appears in the paper, buyback may not appear, and vice versa. But there is a sure question on company accounts, which will be minimum 10, maximum 15 marks. So therefore, focus on ESOP, buyback. Definitely 1 out of that will appear in the exam. Then liquidation of companies. That is also B category because it may not appear in every exam, but there is a possibility it appears at least once in 2 exams. I can tell you one simple technique. Please refer the May 22 question paper. If you do not find a problem on liquidation of companies, it is sure to appear in November 22 exam. Now, immediately you would like to ask me, sir, it has appeared in the exam, sir. Will it come once again in November 22? Yeah, possible. So what is assured to you is, if a problem from a chapter has not appeared in an earlier exam, in the immediately following exam, you're going to get 1 question from that. So if there is no question from buyback last time, in November 22, there is a sure question from buyback. If there is no question from reconstruction of companies last time, this time sure question. If there is no question from liquidators final statement of accounts last time, this time it is certain. On the contrary, if there is no question from NBFC last time, will I get the question this time, sir? It's very difficult to tell you. But one thing I can tell you, partnership, amalgamation, holding company, accounting standard, sure. NBFC, very rare. So that will cover the first category. A and A plus covers 60 to 80, that is average of 70. The remaining 50 marks will be from the B category on an average. C category, by chance it comes, then probably in A category will be 65, C category 5, and B category 50. That is how the paper is normally set, friends. All this are not any guarantee or assurance given by the CA Institute as a faculty of more than 25 years of standing, based on my classes and my research and analysis of the various question papers, and based on my experience, I'm able to come to such conclusion. I'm sure this will be of great help to you in preparing for the exam. But let me reiterate, this categorization is purely for the purpose of strategizing for an exam preparation. In my opinion, every chapter is important, because if the chapter was not important, why that was given in the syllabus? We are expected to learn this. We have to learn this. Learn this. But what I would say, suppose a chapter is a C category, give little time for that. A category, give the maximum time for that. A plus, don't miss at all. Maximum time for A plus. B category, moderate. Like that, you can, allocate your preparation time depending upon the relative importance of the chapters. So this category-wise chapters might be really helpful to you in deciding which is very important, which is least important, and which is moderately important for you. Okay, let's move forward, friends. Hope up to this point, everything is clear, right? Now that we have some idea about what are the chapters we can expect questions from in the examination, I definitely know that you will plan to prepare for the exam. That I know very well. But it is very important that you should plan in the exam. In the 3 hours in the examination hall, how do you prepare? How do you plan? How do you use the time in the 3 hours in the exam hall? That is actually going to make a difference, from you with others. So therefore, friends, I'm just going to present you a table to help you understand what will happen in an exam situation. I'm sure all of you are aware of this, but still, I thought let me share my experience with you. As you know, the paper is for 120 marks, but you should attempt only 100. You have a time of 3 hours, 180 minutes. But let me tell you, friends, even though 180 minutes are there, some time may be lost in getting the paper ready. For example, writing your name, roll number, and then rounding of the oval. For all this, some time may be lost. Actually, it is all supposed to be done before the exam starts, but it depends upon the center to center where exams are conducted. Sometimes this is given, after the exam starts. So you might be losing some time, but not always, assuming you get the full 3 hours time. In such a case, in 3 hours time, that is 180 minutes, you are supposed to attempt 100 marks. So an easy calculation will tell you 100 marks, 180 minutes. Therefore, how much time is available for 1 mark? 1.8 minutes. So in order to get that 1 mark in the exam, you have with you only 1.8 minutes. Therefore, if you get a problem, which is for 10 marks, you are expected to complete it in 18 minutes. That is the time available to you. By chance, you take more time, what does happen? What happens is you don't have time to complete the paper in full. And always this complaint is there from the students. Sir, the paper is lengthy. We are unable to complete the paper. One question was a huge question. Therefore, we could not complete the, exam like that. But see, let me tell you one thing, friends. Are you aware of this before you went to the exam hall, or it was just an information that you got after you entered the exam hall? You are aware of this. You are aware that you have to attempt 100 marks and only 3 hours are there. You are aware of that, is it not? So therefore, there is no point in brooding over, something that happened. When you're aware of, what is in store, you should be prepared for that. You should plan for that. That's why I'm telling you all this. So you know that only 1.8 minutes time is available for a particular mark in the exam. You have to plan accordingly. About that, I will tell you a little bit later. Now, some of you or all of you or most of you might be curious to know, sir, how the paper is set. Let me tell you, I don't set any paper. I don't value any paper, but I have a lot of friends, chartered accountant friends who set paper, who also value the paper. From them, even though they are not supposed to share most of the information, just like that as a friend, I used to ask them to share some inputs. Do not want to name anybody, but from the information given by them, I understood like this. If the total paper is for 120 marks, it will be divided into 3 segments in the ratio of 4:3:3. Not only a paper in CA exams, friends. Any paper, any professional exam, the objective is very simple. A paper is set to ensure that everybody clears that paper. At the same time, we set a standard. Only those who have a level of knowledge can reach certain levels in the marks. Not everybody can get above 60, not everybody can get 90, but everybody should be able to get 40. That is the objective. As far as CA exams are concerned, I found most of the papers are set in a manner such that a reasonably well prepared student will definitely get more than 40, without any doubt. But unless a student has prepared very well, they cannot get more than 60. But somebody is getting 85, 90 and all, definitely they deserve that. Lot of work, lot of planning, lot of strategizing they would have done. But I'm going to tell you how to get at least 60 marks in this paper. As I told you, the paper is allocated into 3 categories like 4:3:3. What is that 4:3:3? If the total paper is 120 marks, 40% of that will be of easy category. That means what? Out of 120 marks, in every paper I have identified 48 marks is the most easiest. If you say, sir, it is everything difficult, that means there is lack of preparation. A reasonably prepared student will always find of the total 120 marks in that paper, 48 marks will be very simple. If not 40, at least 40. Anywhere between 40 and 50 will be very, very simple. A well-prepared student will definitely be able to identify that, because those will be mostly from the B or C categories. But as far as advanced accounting is concerned, C category is only 1 chapter NBFC. Of course, 4 chapters are from B category. Easily you will get 48 marks, 40 to 50 marks from the B category, which will be easy. I'll tell you how. See, suppose a problem carries 5 marks, 8 marks. It cannot be very difficult problem. But if a problem carries less than 5 marks, it has to be very easy. So the easy problems come under the range of 5 to 10 marks, minimum 5, maximum 10, like that. Now, this is mostly, in the B or C category only. And if a problem is easy, tell me how much time you will take. You won't take much time. It won't be difficult to solve that problem also. So out of the total 120 marks in the paper, 48 marks will be the easiest but you should be smart enough to identify that. That's very important. I am assuming out of the 48 marks that you're going to attempt, at least 75% of your answer will be right. I'm not assuming 100% right. Sometimes, yes, you may get one problem full right, one problem 60% right, one problem 80% right. On an average, I'm assuming that out of the easy questions covering 48 marks, on an average, you will get 36. Please understand. Let us come to the moderate level paper. That is minimum 10, maximum 15. Anywhere between 10 and 15, you'll be getting some problems, is it not? That will constitute 30% of the paper, which is around 36 marks. Out of 120, 30% is what? 36 marks. Here, the problems will be from A or B category, because some problems in B category can get you 12 marks also. For example, you get a problem on buyback. Suppose it includes ESOP also, you may get 12 marks. They ask you to prepare a balance sheet. It may include, every adjustment, buyback, ESOP, and so on. It may fetch you 15 marks. But it won't be very difficult like a problem on amalgamation or a problem on accounting standard or a problem on partnership. Correct? No. So 30% of the paper will be moderately difficult, that constitute 36 marks. I'm assuming you'll get only 60% right out of that. So 36 marks will be getting from moderate level. Okay. Out of that, you're going to score only 60% correct. That means how much you will get? You'll get 22 marks in that. Let's come to the A category. A or A plus, whatever it is. That is going to be difficult. For example, accounting standards, which will be 20 marks, right? Then maybe one other problem on partnership or amalgamation, 16 marks. So these are definitely difficult. No problem at all. Correct? Now, assuming out of that 30% of the difficult one, which constitute 36 marks, I'm assuming you will write only 40% correct. Your answer will be only 40% right. Then also you will score 14 marks in that. So this is the total paper, 48, 36, 36. This is the mark you are expecting to get. So therefore, how much marks you can expect to get will be 72 out of 120. Tell me, friends, what is 72 out of 120? It is around 60%, correct? Therefore, based on my many years of experience, I have found out that getting 60 marks in this paper will not be difficult, provided you plan your time in the exam properly, and also you have planned very well before the exam. You have done some good preparation. Then I am telling you, you're not going to attempt 120 marks, going to attempt only 100 marks. So if you attempt 120 marks, you are going to get 72. But you're going to attempt only 100. That means what? You are sure to get 60 marks in the exam from this paper. I can guarantee, assure you that if you follow this, time management in the exam, if you have an idea about how to strategize your preparation, if you know the relative importance of the various chapters, if you know how the paper is set, if you have a clear idea and you prepare accordingly, I can assure you, dear friends, that your marks in this paper will be 60 or above. It will not be 59 or below. I can assure you that. Many of my students have scored in excess of 60. Not that everybody, some have scored less than 60 also, but let me talk about the positive examples. One of my students got 95 in this paper. Another student got 90. The one who got 95 was All India second in that particular paper. Another student got 90, that is all India fourth in that paper. So many students have got in excess of 60. Whoever has cleared the exam have come and told me, sir, your approach was very, very useful to us, sir. We focused on getting 60 or above in this paper. And since we got it, we're able to clear that particular group itself. So please try to have this kind of approach when you write the examination. Okay. Next one. Now, as I told you, I'll be discussing about the time management a little bit more. Let me focus more on this aspect. Please listen very carefully, very, very useful. Now, friends, all of you must be knowing that as far as CA exams are concerned, they give you a reading time of 15 minutes. Suppose your exam starts at 2 o'clock. You are expected to enter the exam hall at 1:30, 15 minutes time for doing all the preliminary works and so on. At 1:45, the invigilator is supposed to give you the question paper. You will be allowed to read the paper fully during that 15 minutes. But of course, you are not supposed to write anything. So the question paper will come to your hands at 1:45. You have to start writing exam at 2 o'clock only. 15 minutes time is available. Read the question paper thoroughly. Let me tell you, friends, this kind of privileges or facilities was not available to us when we were students. I'm very happy that this kind of privilege is available to you, but unless you make use of that, it's not going to be of any help to you at all. So therefore, what you should do, use this 15 minutes thoroughly, productively, to read the paper fully. I wouldn't say you have to read every line, but you would definitely know, okay, what are the questions, compulsory questions? What are the subdivisions there? What is the question number 5? How many subdivisions? What is question number 4? Oh, one full problem on partnership, 15 marks. Like that, you'll have a fair idea. So as you go through the question paper in the reading time of 15 minutes, you can easily identify one thing. What is that? You have to attend question 1 compulsory. There is no option. But among the remaining 5, that is 2 to 6, there is one choice, is it not? You can decide in that 15 minutes time which you are not going to attend. Because there is only one choice. My option in such cases would be, suppose I find a problem, one full problem carrying 20 marks, I would not do it in the exam. The reason is very simple. The reason is very simple, friends, that if a problem carries 20 marks, then what will happen? It is going to be the maximum difficult problem, is it not? So maybe it will take 40 minutes, 50 minutes, even 1 hour to do the problem. It's not worth, attempting a lengthy problem and taking a lot of time. So I would suggest in that 15 minutes of time that is available before you start writing exam, you choose the question which you are not going to attempt. That would be the best strategy that you can follow during this 15 minutes time. Okay. As you know, the time allowed is 180 minutes. Total marks is 100. That means what? For every mark that we fetch in the exam, we have only 1.8 minutes. Very important point. 1.8 minutes for every mark that you have to get in the examination. So please remember this point. Okay, 1.8 minutes per mark. So therefore, if you get a question carrying 10 marks, how much time we have? We have a maximum of 18 minutes only, not more than that. But please tell me, will you keep writing the answers till the last moment in the exam? that would not be worth, that would not be fine. So therefore, if a problem carries 10 marks, theoretically 1.8 minutes is available, 18 minutes is available, but I would suggest better complete it in 15 minutes. You might ask me, sir, is it practically possible? It has been possible for people who are successful. So if you want to be successful, why I should say if you, all of you want to be successful, then you should ensure that you've completed in 15 minutes. Then how to do that, sir? How to do that in 15 minutes, sir? A 10-mark problem, can I finish in 15 minutes? Yeah, it's possible. How? Before going to exam, you should have practiced as many problems as possible in every chapter, and that too in exam condition. You will definitely be able to complete every problem carrying 10 marks in 15 minutes. Okay, sometimes it may take 20 minutes, not a problem. There may be another 5 marks problem, which you can finish in 5 minutes. So there may be a balancing act here and there, but on an average, it is better to complete a problem carrying 10 marks within 15 to 20 minutes. That's why I said 18. Sometimes you may take 12 minutes, sometimes 15, sometimes 18. Okay, sometimes 20. But if it goes beyond 20, I suggest you stop. Don't continue the solution. Because wasting time in exam is, time is at a premium as far as exam is concerned. So if you spend a lot of time on doing one problem, still you are going to get the maximum 10 marks or 12 marks only. So time and marks, there should be a correlation. There should be a proper planning. If you adhere to that, then necessarily you can complete the paper within the allotted time. So therefore, if you are able to complete a 10-mark problem in 15 minutes, by applying the same logic throughout, 100 marks paper can be completed in 150 minutes, which is equivalent to 2 hours and 30 minutes. So what's the total time available? 180 minutes, that is 3 hours. But if you're able to complete a 10-mark problem in 15 minutes and so on, a 15 marks problem in 25 minutes and so on, like that, you would complete the paper in 2 hours and 30 minutes. So yeah, sometimes you may take 2 hours, 40 minutes, 2 hours, 45 minutes, fine. But I would request you not to keep writing the exam till the last moment, because if you complete the paper within 2 hours and 30 minutes or 2 hours and 45 minutes, then there is a review time available of 15 to 30 minutes. Like we had reading time before the exam, we'll have review time before you hand over the paper to the invigilator. This review time is very, very important, let me tell you, because when you're writing the answers in the exam hall, there is every possibility that you might have committed mistakes unknowingly, or you need some time to draw lines and all, or you want to highlight something, is it not? So this 15 to 20 or 30 minutes time after you have finished the paper will be very, very crucial for you to review the paper. By chance, you made a mistake. Just before I started this session, I was valuing the papers of some students. A student has written every number correctly, but total was wrong. They put the total wrong, so she lost 2 marks because of that. Had she verified the paper, had she reviewed the paper, she would have rectified that, she would have got full marks. So the review time of 15 to 20 minutes or maximum 30 minutes is going to help you to score that 5 or 10 marks additionally. I can tell you that's what happened when I wrote my intermediate exam. I completed my accounts paper in 2 hours and 40 minutes. I tried to follow this, but of course the reading time was not there, but still I was able to manage to complete my paper in 2 hours 40 minutes. How that was possible? I stood South India second, in that paper, in that particular examination. How that was possible? Very simple. There is no substitute for hard work. You might be extraordinarily brilliant, intelligent, smart, everything. People nowadays say smart work is more better than hard work. Okay, I agree with that. But there should be some work. Without work, whether it is hard or smart, nobody is going to achieve anything. So therefore, I would suggest before you go to exam, you should have practiced as many problems as possible. Particularly, you should have done the problem in your own hands in a separate notebook, chapter wise, and you have to revise it again and again as many times as possible. And you should keep a tab on the time. Okay, now I'm going to attempt a problem carrying 15 marks. Now the time is 2:55 in my watch. Okay, I should finish it by 3:30. I should finish it by 3:25. Something I should set a target and I should practice that problem. If you had practiced like this before the exam, I'm sure you will be able to do all the problems in that much time only. Since I had practiced around, I'm not boasting, but I tell you, I practiced around 3,000 problems before I went to my exam, covering all the chapters, and as many times as possible, I revised. So the exam was not at all difficult for me. In fact, that particular exam happened to be one of the toughest in accounting at that particular point of time, but I didn't find it anything difficult. So whether a paper is easy or difficult depends on your preparation. Doesn't depends on the paper or the paper setter or the syllabus or the evaluator. If you prepare well, if you have practiced well, if you have good strategies, if you have managed your time properly in the exam, there is absolutely no problem that you're going to do well in the exam. So therefore, if that should be the goal, you should work towards it. Yes, I want to complete my paper in 2 hours and 30 minutes. I need some 15, 20 or 30 minutes to review my paper. That way if you do. In fact, I had experience with some rank holders recently. Most of them had completed their paper in 2 hours and 30 minutes or 2 hours and 40 minutes. They never wrote the full paper, the full time in the exam. They had completed their paper within that 3 hours time, and they had sufficient time to review their paper, at least 10 or 15 minutes. And they came and told me, sir, yes, because of this review, I managed to rectify some mistakes. Probably because of that, I scored 5 marks or 10 marks in each paper. That made them get a better rank in the exam. So if you're focusing on a rank, I know most of you would be focusing on getting a rank. You should try to practice as many problems as possible in exam condition so that the review time of 30 minutes will definitely be available to you. So if you review the answer paper, mistakes, if any, can be rectified. So therefore, as I told you earlier, if you can attempt 100 marks, I'm saying if you can attempt, but I should actually be saying if you should attempt. I shouldn't say if you can. I should say you should attempt 100 marks. You will get 60 marks. But whether you will attend or not, I am not very sure. So therefore, I can only guide you by telling you, if you can attempt 100 marks, your score will be 60 or more. Because when I value the paper, I find the person has written 100 marks. Easily that person gets 60, 65, 73 like that. But a person has attended only 70 marks. How they can score 60? That's not possible, friends, in CA exams. So anybody desirous of scoring in excess of 60 should ensure that they attempt full 100 marks including the compulsory question on accounting standards. Let's go to the next one. Now, this is another area where many students have some doubts. Sir, in which order I should present the paper? So as far as the CA Institute is concerned, they have not prescribed any particular order. You can attempt any question in any order. You can attempt fifth question first question later, then you can attempt the sixth question, then third question, then fourth and second. No problem. There is absolutely no statutory condition or a compulsory condition that you have to present the paper in a certain order only. Like any exam, there is no such condition. But then still, I would like to share with you order of presentation. Why? I will tell you the reasons. See, your question one is compulsory. I know it is going to be an accounting standards. Why that is compulsory? Because the institute wants you to have a clear idea on accounting standard. That's why it is made compulsory. Therefore, you should not miss that. It will be wise if you attempt it first. The institute wants you to have knowledge in accounting standards. That is why it is compulsory. If you attend it at the end, you don't get a good impression. But when you attend it first and hoping that all your answers are correct also, imagine the first 4 or 5 pages of an answer sheet is on accounting standard, compulsory question, and all answers are correct. Tell me, if you are valuing that paper, will you not have a good impression about the student? Is it not? So like that, when the paper valuers take your paper and they find that, okay, the first 4-5 pages of your answer sheet is on accounting standard and all our answers are correct, definitely you are going to create a very good impression about yourself in the minds of the examiner. And such impression will last long, such that till he completes evaluating your paper, that impression will be carried forward. Naturally, the examiner knows, okay, this student deserves better. So therefore, they are going to give you some additional marks. Not more than 10. Suppose a problem carries 10 marks, they won't give you 11 or 12, but they will give you full 10. Otherwise, they may give you 8 or 7, depending upon how you have presented the answer. So in my opinion, it's better you present the compulsory question first, provided you know the correct answer for all the questions. Next. Attempt questions carrying 5 to 10 marks. The reason is very simple. If a question carries 5 marks, it will be easy question. It consumes less time. But in less time, you'll get better benefit, is it not? 5 minutes, 5 marks. 6 minutes, 6 marks. 10 marks problem, okay, you'll have to take 15 minutes. But for 8 marks problem, you may not take more than 10 minutes. Like that. So in the available time, should use the minimum time to get the maximum benefit. If you attempt questions carrying 5 to 10 marks better, like that you have to choose the, questions. Suppose if a subdivision question carries 5 ABC, 5 marks, 10 marks, 5 marks, you should do that after the compulsory question. In that, do the first 5 mark first and last 5 mark next, then do the 10 mark problem. So what will happen is that 5 marks problem will be easy. You can finish it off fast. Another 5 mark, you finish it off fast. Maybe you'll save some time to do the 10 marks problem. Suppose you're able to finish each 5 marks problem in 5 minutes. You took only 10 minutes for that. Then you can take 20 minutes for the remaining 10 marks. So put together for the 20 marks, you're taking only 30 minutes or so. So choose questions which carries marks in the range of 5 to 10. Attempt it after the compulsory question. Two benefits are there. One is less time. The other one is more marks. After you have attempted all the questions carrying 5 to 10, there will still be problems carrying 15 to 20 marks. Yes, there is a problem on amalgamation, 15 marks. There is a problem on holding company, 15 marks. There is a problem on partnership, 20 marks, like that. Please attempt it finally. Some other faculty may tell you like this: please attempt bigger questions first, but I would not suggest you that. Because once you start attempting big questions first, you get sucked into that, you spend more time on that. Even if you spend 1 hour on a 20 marks problem, you'll get 20 marks only. On the contrary, the first 1 hour of your exam can be used to attempt 40 marks or at least 30 marks. Is it not? So I would suggest attempt compulsory question first, because a subdivision question, A, B, C, D, each 4, 5 marks only. Then any other question from 2 to 6 where there are subdivisions carrying 5 to 10 marks, attempt that. You can finish it fast. Then last 1 or 2 questions which may carry 15, 20 marks, you will have a lot of time available to do that and some peace of mind also. Is it not? So this should be the order of presentation, in my opinion. I do not want to impose anything upon your friend. This is all just guidance. But many people who have taken this guidance have been benefited. They have come back to me and told me, yes, sir, this was really very useful to us. And most of them are chartered accountants now and are well placed in very big organizations. I'm sure all of you are also aiming at those things in life. So please attempt what I am telling you. One day you will also come and tell me that, yes, sir, because of this session, I was benefited. In the place of 65, I got 87. I got 75. You're going to tell me I am 100% certain about that. Okay. Yeah, let's go. Now, as I told you in the beginning, which question you should avoid? You have one choice, right? Question 1, compulsory, no choice. But remaining 5 questions, 2 to 6, one choice. If possible, if there is a problem, full problem carrying 20 marks, avoid it. Don't do it. Because in the examination, our objective is to get marks, not to get sentimental about a particular chapter or getting too close or emotional attachment with a particular chapter. Even if you do not do a problem on amalgamation, which carries 20 marks, you can still attempt 100 marks. You would score 80 or 70. But by attempting the 20 marks, you lose 1 hour of your time. Still, you get only 20. The remaining 2 hours is not sufficient to, do problems covering the remaining 80 marks. So suppose in the remaining question from 2 to 6, there is one problem carrying 20 marks. As I told you, I will identify that when I have the reading time of 15 minutes. At the time itself, I'll decide, okay, the problem number 5, I will not do. Why? Because this is a problem on holding companies. One full problem, 20 marks. It will definitely be difficult. So I don't want to waste my time on that. Sir, what is a chance that in the exam there may be 2 questions carrying 20 marks? Very, very, very remote chance. But if you are not very fortunate, yes, that situation arises. There may be 2 full problems carrying 20 marks. Then among them, you have to choose only one. The remaining other 20 should not be attempted in the exam. That will help you to save a lot of time and focus on the other questions. So in my opinion, if you follow this order of presentation, it will be really, really fine for you, friends. But the last part is the most important one. I told you first attempt compulsory, then questions carrying 5 to 10, then 15, 20, like that, is it not? Now, it may give you an impression that, okay, I'll attempt all the 5-mark question first. 4A, 5 mark, 5C, 5 marks, 2C, 5 marks. Shall I attempt like that? No. All parts of the same question should be attempted in that same order. You can attempt 4C first, then 4B, then 4A. That's not a problem. That order can be changed. But once you've started attempting problem number 4, all the divisions of that question should be attended in one place altogether. That means, in other words, you cannot do 1A first and then 2C and then 5B. Again, you cannot do 4D, not in that order. 1 ABCD, 1 DCBA, 1 BCDA, like that. Then 2 or 4 ABC, 4 CBA, then 5 AB, then 2 CBA, like that you should attempt. So all parts of the question should be in one place altogether. Please remember. And also, very important point you should remember is every new question should be started on a fresh page. That's another important point many people forget. Suppose they complete a problem for 4A problem over, half page is still blank available. They think they can start 4B there itself. No. 4A fresh page, 4B fresh page, 5C fresh page, 2D fresh page. Every new question, every subdivision of every question should be started on a fresh page. And suppose you're asked to prepare a balance sheet or a P&L, it should always be started on a fresh page. Even if you have some space, adequate space in the preceding pages, forget it. Balance sheet should always be started on a fresh page. Preferably in one page, you should finish the balance sheet, and the notes have to be shown immediately after the balance sheet. So these are all very important points. The way you present it, in which order you present it, is very, very important to get the maximum marks in this paper. Now, friends, you might be asking, sir, how to present? You told me the order, what to be done first, second, third, how to strategize, how to plan, how to use the time, like that. So many things I told you. But method of presentation, this is where many students lack knowledge. How to present it? Friends, you might have the best stuff, best content with you. But if you do not present it properly, it doesn't reach the exam. You understand? So I present something in a proper manner that reach the other person, is properly communicated. So whatever content I have, it should be presented in a proper manner. So how you go to a big hotel, how they present the food. The presentation itself makes you lip smacking and you would like to consume it at the earliest. Of course, what is a taste, we will know only when you actually eat it. But does it not attract you? Like that, when you present an answer, it should be presented in such a manner that the examiner is tempted to look at your answer. You've done it in a beautiful manner, very nice presentation. It attracts the examiner to look into the answer. So therefore, we are going to spend some time on how to present the answers. I'm going to take some sample questions and I'm going to show you how to present the answers also, such that you ensure you get full marks, not only based on your answer, but also based on the way you present the answer. Okay. Now, suppose you get a question on accounting standards. Correct? Question 1, compulsory accounting standard. Definitely you're going to attempt it. So I have taken that. If there is a question on accounting standards, how are you supposed to present it? Very simple. You know that a problem on accounting standard with reference to a particular standard, correct? There are 12 standards which you have to learn, understand, apply in the exam. What are they? AS4, contingency events occurring after the balance sheet date. AS5, profit loss for the period. Extraordinary items, prior period errors, change in accounting estimates, change in accounting policies. Accounting standard 7, construction contracts. Accounting standard 9, revenue recognition. Like that, around 12 standards you are supposed to study. Among the 12, 4 or 5 is going to come in question number 1. Now, as you come across a question on accounting standard, your first job is to identify the number and the title of the standard. Because once you identify the title and the number, and you write it in the first line of your answer, the examiner is mighty pleased. The examiner is very happy because you've identified the correct standard. Definitely your answer is going to be correct. So for example, you get a problem on earnings per share. The first line of your answer should be, this is a problem based on AS20, earnings per share, EPS. It is actually very easy to identify. Is it not? The problem itself will tell you, calculate this EPS, calculate diluted EPS. Very easy. You will know that. But suppose a problem asks you to calculate unearned finance income. It is based on what? AS19, accounting for leases. Identify that. Write the correct number and title. Here there is a problem. What problem? If you are unable to identify the correct number and the name, there is a problem. So therefore, if you know the number correctly, write the number only. You know the title correctly, write the title only. You know both correctly, write both correctly. Sir, I'm unable to understand which standard. What is the title? Sometimes you remember the number, but not the name. It is vice versa sometimes. Then, whichever you believe is 100% right, that only you write in the exam. Suppose you are confused about the title or the number, don't commit that. Just leave it as it is. But it'd be wonderful if you're able to clearly mention the name, the number, and the title of the standard. So identify that. That is the first step. What is the next step? Indicate the relevant portion of the AS pertaining to the question. See, you may get a question on accounting standard, but it pertains to a particular part of the standard. What is that portion in the standard? In your own words, you write. Don't try to reproduce or copy from the standard. That's not possible. That is not required also. So if it is a question on EPS, on what they're asking that question, is it diluted EPS? Is it option? Is it convertible debenture? Then what does the standard says about convertible debenture, about options, about right share? One or two, sentences in your own words, but it should be presented in a manner that it is easily understood by your paper valuer. So don't need to use very flamboyant words. Use simple words. Divide into small sentences. Break it into small sentences. Write simply and briefly. Brevity is very, very essential when you present the answer, because if you start writing lengthy sentences, you might be contradicting your own words, in an answer. So in short and sweet sentences, you write your answer, and preferably in your own words. Don't try to reproduce what is there in the book, because one student came and asked me, sir, I've reproduced everything in the book. Why you are not giving marks? Marks are not given for reproducing what is there in the book. Marks are given for your understanding. of what is given in the book. How well you understood. Because once you become a chartered accountant, you cannot copy anything from anybody. You are expected to be your own creative person. You are expected to have that individuality. You are expected to write everything on your own, not copy from somebody else. So therefore, if a problem is based on construction contracts, AS7, that problem is related to some particular portion of the standard, is it not? That portion, write it in your own words. In other words, you just tell, okay, this standard tells about this like this. That's it. That means you're telling the examiner, see, I know what standard, what is a name, what is a number. I know what does the standard speak about this. Now the third one, write a brief analysis of the question in your own words. Question is given to you, they're asking you, do this, do that, comment, discuss, something like that. You have read the question, you have understood the question, analyze the question, write it in your own words. Don't reproduce the question again. Because when I say this, some people say, oh, wonderful, I write the question again. That's useless. That's waste of time. So read the question, understand the question, analyze it. Give a brief analysis of the question in your own words. So the number, name is known. What part of standard you know. What is given in the question you know. Can you not come to a conclusion? According to this standard, this is what should be done, but this is what is actually done. Is it in accordance with the standard or not? Can you not come to a conclusion? So what you should do, the fourth point is correlate. Relate the provisions of AS with the information. That is, in other words, see whether 2 and 3 are consistent. Whether what is done by the company is in accordance with what is given in the standard. Correlate it. If the accounting treatment done by the company is in accordance with that, then your conclusion is, yes, company has done it correctly, perfectly. It is in accordance with standard, so nothing to be changed. But suppose standard says something, the company has done something else, they are arguing that they are right, then you are supposed to give your conclusion that standard says this, the accountant has done this, it is not in accordance with the accounting standards. So this pattern or this approach or this order, if you present an answer on accounting standards, each question carries 5 marks, is it not? If not 5 out of 5, I can assure you, you will get at least 4 out of 5. Suppose it's a problem carrying 4 marks. If not 4, you'll get at least 3 out of 4. So the compulsory question carrying 20 marks, even if you're not able to get 20 out of 20, if you get 15 out of 20, is that not sufficient to you, friends? 15 out of 20 is what? Around 75%. So you lose only 1 mark. See, please try to understand carefully. In the exam, a question is given on a particular standard. They give you 5 marks. You write only 1 or 2 lines or 1 or 2 words. You tell me, who will give you full 5 marks? So the paper setter is expecting you to provide the name, the number, the relevant portion of the standard, your analysis of the question, and of course, what do you understand? What do you derive? What do you infer from that? Correlate this and that. Finally, come to your conclusion. If suppose there needs to be some calculation to be done, that also you have to write. Then you say, okay, this is what is my opinion about the treatment done by the company. So if you present an answer like this, 5 points are there. If they give 1 mark to each point, you'll get 5 marks. Particularly for identifying the name and number, 1 mark is given directly. Whether your answer is right or wrong, That doesn't matter. For identifying number and name, we give you 1 mark. So how nice it will be, writing the name and number, you get 1 mark for your answer. It doesn't take much time. And once you identify the correct number and the correct title, who can prevent you from giving the correct answer and getting the full marks in the examination? So therefore, friends, it would be very, very nice if you follow this approach. And this is going to be your, first 4 or 5 pages of your answer paper. And if you're able to present it in this manner, in a proper order, in a simple English, in small and sweet sentences, your answers are correct, your calculations are perfect, in 30 minutes of time, you get 20 marks. So examination is all about the approach. Of course, yes, we will have to prepare well. We need to have a schedule, how we are going to study, what we are going to study, when we are going to study. All that is, of course, this is not the time to discuss about that because it's just 2 weeks from before the exam. But now the approach towards the exam, the way you present it, the way you manage the time, the way you plan the time in exam and how you present it, that is definitely going to make a lot of difference to you in the examination. So friends, hope, whatever we discussed so far will give you a better idea on how we are going to, approach the exam. Is it not? Right. Let me now take a sample question. I am going to give answer for this question now. BNP Limited availed a lease from N&L Limited. The conditions of the lease terms are as follows. Lease period 3 years. In the beginning of the year 2019, for equipment costing 10 lakh as a useful life of 5 years. The fair market value is also rupees 10 lakhs. The property reverts back to the lessor on termination of the lease. The unguaranteed residual value is estimated at rupees 1 lakh at the end of the year 2021. 3 equal annual payments are made at the end of each year. Consider IRR, that is internal rate of return, to be 10%. The present value of ₹1 due at the end of the 3rd year at 10% rate of interest is ₹0.7513. That is nothing but the present value of ₹1 at the end of 3 years by applying a discount rate of 10%. The present value of annuity of ₹1 due at the end of 3rd year at 10% IRR is 2.4868. Annuity is nothing but the aggregate of the present value. That means in 3 years, you'll be getting ₹3, absolutely. But if you discount it at the rate of 10% IRR, its today's worth will be 2.4868. That is a cumulative amount of that ₹1 you'll be earning at the end of 1st, 2nd, and 3rd year. Now, state whether the lease constitute finance lease and also calculate the unearned finance income. This is a question you are getting in the exam. Now, friends, very easy to identify the name and number of the lease. What is the name and number of the standard? Very simple. This is a problem on accounting for leases, and therefore it is covered by accounting standard number 19. Wonderful. Very good. Please write it in the first line. This problem is based on accounting standard number 19, accounting for leases. Clear? 1 mark will be given for that. Now, the question is whether the lease constitute finance lease. So therefore, the question is very, very clear to identify whether it is a finance lease or an operating lease. You know very well, guys, lease can be of either finance or operating lease. When a lease will be a finance lease? When a lease would be an operating lease? What does the standard say? According to standard, if a lease is not a finance lease, it is operating lease. But then how will you conclude the lease is a finance lease? Then you have to write, this is a problem based on AS 19 accounting for leases. According to AS 19, the second step I'm telling, according to AS 19, a lease will be regarded as finance lease if the following conditions are satisfied. 5 conditions, you have to write that. Or at least 1 or 2 of that you should write. If the term of the lease is substantially equal to the useful life of the asset. For example, in this problem, the lease is 3 years. The useful life of the asset is 5 years. Is it substantial? You have to come to a conclusion. But a very important variable, how to determine whether lease is a finance lease or not, is to compare the fair value of the asset at the inception of the lease with the present value of the minimum lease rentals from the point of view of the lessor. Because they are asking you to calculate unearned finance income from the point of view of the lessor, whether the present value of the minimum lease rentals covers substantially the initial fair value. If the answer is yes, it constitutes a finance lease. Otherwise, it is an operating lease. That you have to mention. So therefore, we have an idea. I know what is a fair market value of asset, 10 lakh given in the question. 10 lakh given in the question. See, 10 lakh is the fair value of the asset. But I should find out what is the present value of the minimum lease rental from lessor's point of view. Is it equal to, or is it at least 90% or more than the fair value? If the answer is yes, then we can conclude the lease constitutes a finance lease. So therefore, what we should do, we have to find out what is the present value of the minimum lease rentals, compare that with the fair market value. If the PV of minimum lease rent is at least 90% of the fair value, it constitutes a finance lease. How will you find out that? Okay, number 1. Now, suppose you conclude that yes, it is a finance lease, then you have to calculate unearned finance income. What is unearned finance income? See, for the lessor, as and when he receives any installment from the lessee, there are 2 components in that. One is the principal component, other is the interest component. The interest component is a finance income to the lessor. That income will be earned, will accrue as and when the installment becomes due over a period of 3 years. So the interest income for first year will accrue at the end of first year, second year, end of second year, and so on. But at the beginning of the lease, the lessor is interested in knowing how much interest I will earn. By offering this machinery on lease, how much interest I will earn. I want to know that now upfront, at the time of inception of lease itself. I have not earned it, but I would like to know how much I will earn. So right now it is unknown to finance income. How to calculate that? Very simple. We have to compare the gross value of investment in the lease with the net investment. What is net investment? Net investment is nothing but PV of minimum lease rentals. So compare that total investment against the present value of such investment. The difference, if any, will be the unearned finance income. So you have read the problem, you identified that, okay, this is a problem on AS 19 leases, and you know how are you going to approach it, what is given in the standard, what is given in the question, what is the requirement, how I am going to present the answer. Now, if everything is clear, then what next? You have to present the answer. Is it not? So therefore, let us take the answer or the solution for this problem on AS19. But we would like to take a short break at this point of time. We will join after some time. So friends, now we will see how to present the solution to this particular problem. We have already discussed the contents. So this is a question number 1 on AS19 leases. So see friends, as I told you, you are supposed to mention in the first line of your answer, this is a problem based on AS19 accounting for leases. Now the question is whether it constitutes a finance lease or not. That is a question, correct? So what are you supposed to do, friends? We are supposed to find out what is the present value of minimum lease payment. This we have to compare with the fair value of the asset at the inception of the lease. How to find the present value of minimum lease payments? See, in the problem it is given the fair value is 10 lakh, the cost is also 10 lakh. That means the lessor is expecting to receive 10 lakh over a period of 3 years. But that includes unguaranteed residual value of 1 lakh. According to the problem, what is unguaranteed residual value? 1 lakh. But that will be received when only at the end of 3 years. At that time, the present value is 0.7513. So, if the lessor receives 1 lakh, at the end of 3 years, it is equivalent to how much? It is 75,130, correct? So, this 10 lakh includes that. Balance will be the present value of MLP from the lessee point of view. In other words, this is the total amount you will get from lessee discounted to today's value. Clear? Discounted to today's value. The cumulative amount. Now, if you divide this cumulative amount by the annuity factor, you will be getting the annual installments. So out of 10 lakh, if you deduct the PV of unguaranteed residual value, you'll get the PV of MLP from lessee point of view. You divide this by the present value of annuity for 3 years. Annual installment will be 371,900. In other words, the lessee will pay every year in 3,71,912. And the lessee has not guaranteed any residual value end of 3 years. Now, whether this is right or wrong, how to find out? Very simple. Year 1, 2, 3, lessee will pay 371,912. Multiply that by the present value factor at the rate of 10%, which will be what? 1 by 1 plus R whole power n. That formula you would apply to get the PV factor. Here R is 10%. If you take it to root power 1, you'll get 90909091. Power 2 will be 82644628. Power 3 will be 7513140. So the present value of 1 rupee after 1 year, 2 year, 3 year is determined here. If you multiply that by the annual installment, you get the PV of MLP. Find the total. See, 924,889. Here it is 924,870. See, this amount, slight difference will be there because of approximation only. So, are you getting the same number? So, therefore, what is the PV of MLP from the lessee point of view? 924,870. What is the fair value of the machinery at the inception of lease? 10 lakh. Therefore, is it a finance lease? If the PV of MLP from lessee point of view covers substantially the fair value of machine at the inception of the lease, then such lease is regarded as a finance lease. So therefore, see here, what is PV of MLP from lessee point of view divided by fair value? That is 9,24,870 divided by 10 lakh will be equal to what? 92.49%. So since the PV of MLP from lessee point of view is more than 90% of fair value of the machinery, it is regarded as a finance lease. That's all. So we answered question number 1. Now we have to calculate the unearned finance income. Unearned finance income is recognized in the books of the lessor only. As far as lessee is concerned, it is finance charge, expenditure. So when they say finance income, it is from the point of view of the lessor. Very simple. It is a difference between the gross amount and the net amount. What is gross amount? Gross amount is the amount that the lessor expects to receive from the machinery, which is 3 installments of 3,71,912 plus unguaranteed residual value of 1 lakh. If you add all that, you will get 12,15,736. But the present value of all such is equal to 10 lakh only. So gross investment is 12,15,736. Net investment is 10 lakh only. So the difference between these two is nothing but interest income. As you know, net investment is what? Is nothing but the present value. Gross investment includes interest. So including interest, the investment is 12,15,736. Excluding interest, the investment is 10 lakh. Therefore, from the point of view of the lessor, he is expecting to earn a finance income of 2,15,736. That you are determining at the beginning of the lease itself. Therefore, it is called unearned finance income. Finance income, you have not earned it. You will earn it only when the particular installments becomes due. So over a period of 3 years, you will be getting this finance income. Clear? So if that is the question and this is the way you present the answer, necessarily out of 5, you'll get minimum 4. But if you are able to impress the examiner with better presentation, you can even get 5 out of 5. See, ultimately, the answer should be right. But the way you write the answer, point by point, this is a problem based on AS 19, accounting for leases. According to AS 19, a lease will be regarded as a finance lease. The PV of MLP is substantially more than the 90% of fair value of machinery. In this case, what is a PV of MLP lessee point of view? What is fair value? Compare and all that if you write properly. And you should also write what is the meaning of unearned finance income. It is nothing but the difference between the gross investment, net investment, nothing but the PV of MLP from lessee point of view and so on. If you write all that, and you show the calculation, definitely examiner has to give you full credit for your answer. So friends, please follow this approach, do the problem correctly, present it nicely, get full marks. That is my objective. Now, let me also take another problem. This problem is again based on accounting standards. Please go through the problem once. Let us come to the conclusion. What is the standard based on which the problem has been taken? G Limited has undertaken a bridge construction contract as per details given below. The bridge will be constructed in 3 years. The initial contract revenue will be 900 crores, whereas initial contract cost is 800 crores. Year 1, 2, 3, they are given you what is the estimated contract cost. In year 2, increase in contract revenue. Year 2, estimated additional cost. Then contract cost incurred up to date of reporting. So this 161 is the cost incurred up to end of 1 year. 584 is the cost incurred up to end of year 2. 820 is cost up to end of year. That means cumulative cost is given. The actual cost for that year is nothing but the difference between the cost incurred up to end of year 2 and up to end of year 1. Like that, is it not? At the end of second year, cost incurred includes rupees 10 crores for materials stored at the site to be used in third year to complete the project. See, at the end of year 2, the total cost incurred is 584 crores. But in that, 10 crores are spent for materials stored. They are not used it. They'll use it only third year. That means out of 584, 10 is closing stock. That will not be consumption cost. That will not be cost incurred. So we have eliminated. Balance only is the actual cost incurred up to the year 2. So the 10 crores will be moved to the third year. Understand? Now calculate revenue, cost and profit to be recognized year-wise. It's a very good problem, friends. Problem on accounting standard. Can you tell me what is the title and the number for this standard? Very simple. It is relating to a contract for constructing a bridge, which takes more than 12 months. So it's a long-term construction contracts. So therefore, it is very obvious. It's very clear that this problem is based on accounting standard number 7. What's the title? Accounting for construction contracts. So therefore, what does that standard say? You have identified the number and the title, write it first line. This problem or this question is based on AS7, accounting for construction contracts. 1 mark will be given directly. Actually, for this problem, they may give you not 5, more than 5. They can give up to 8 marks also. Because a lot of calculations are that year-wise, you have to find the revenue, cost, and profit. So probably an examiner can give you 6 marks. Some other examiner who is a little bit magnanimous may give you even 8 marks. And this is one problem where many students make mistake. In fact, in the recent mock test we conducted in SIRC, there was a similar problem on construction contracts. Not even one person has done it correctly. I felt very, very sad that students are not able to do that. So what I thought was, I will take up a problem like this, explain to you how to solve it and also how to present it, so that at least you'll be benefited, and by chance a similar problem comes in the exam, it will be very, very helpful to you to do that and get the correct answer. So 6 marks to 8 marks can be given for this problem. Now, you know that this is a problem based on accounting standard 7, construction contracts, wonderful. But according to accounting standard number 7, how to calculate the revenue for that particular year? At the end of every year, we are supposed to find out the percentage of completion. The total revenue has to be recognized to the extent of the percentage of completion at the end of every year. The cost incurred up to the date will be recognized as such. So the difference between the revenue and the cost will be the profit for the particular year. So therefore, in all problems on construction contracts, it is essential that we find out the percentage of completion. How to find the percentage of completion? Very simple. There are different ways of determining the percentage of completion: a technical review, physical, execution of work, all that can be done, but no such information is given to us. But we can determine the percentage of completion based on the proportion of cost incurred up to date to the total estimated cost to complete the contract. Suppose you're estimating 1,000 crores as cost to complete the contract. Up to end of 1 year, you incurred only 400 crores. Your completion is 40%. So the cost incurred up to that year is the numerator. The total estimated cost to complete the contracts is the denominator. That will give you the percentage of completion. That percentage of completion should be applied on the contract revenue to determine to what extent revenue can be recognized up to the end of that year. Suppose in the second year, 90% is completed. You have to recognize 900 crores of income. But already in the first year, 400 is recognized. So the second year, only 500 crores is to be recognized. Like that, for the purpose of determining the amount of revenue to recognize, you have to keep the cost as the base, compute the percentage of completion, then compare the revenue and cost for the respective period. You'll get the profits for the respective year. That's it, friends. If you are clear in your mind, you know what standard, how to approach, what should be done, how to get the answer, how to present it, you'll get the full marks for this. Let me help you to present the answer. See, this problem is based on accounting standard number 7, construction contracts. All rupees in crores. This is for the year 1. What is the percentage of completion? See, up to the year 1, the cost incurred is 161, whereas estimated cost to complete is 805. All given in the question. You can see. See, estimated contract cost is 805. What is incurred up to year 1 is 161. Therefore, the percentage of completion is 20%. The total revenue for the contract is 900 crores. Of the 20% only to be recognized now. So revenue for the first year will be 180. That is 920% is 180. Up to the first year, cost incurred is 161. Therefore, the profit for the first year is 90. See how simple. So how to determine the profit? Profit is equal to revenue minus cost. Cost is actual cost incurred. Revenue will be total contract price multiplied by the percentage of completion attributable to that year. In this case, 20% completed. 900 is the total contract price. 180 will be revenue for the year. 161 is the cost incurred, resulting in a profit of 19 crores in the first year. Now let's go to the second year. For the second year, what is the percentage of completion? See, what is the cost incurred up to second year? 584. But 10 crore is stock of material which will be used next year. Therefore, minus that, actually 570 only is consumed. What's the total contract cost? Initially, estimated cost was 805, but in the second year, they estimated another 15 crores to be incurred. Therefore, the total estimated cost will be 820 crores. Total cost incurred is 574. So at the end of second year, the percentage of completion is 70. Therefore, in 2 years, how much revenue should have been recognized? 900 was the original contract price, but in the second year, there was increase in revenue by 20. Therefore, now the revenue is 920 crores. If the total revenue is 920, up to second year, your revenue should be 644. That is 920 into 70%, 644. Up to second year. But out of that 644, already in the first year, 180 is recognized. So therefore, for the second year, revenue to recognize is 464 only. That is 644 minus 180, 464. Are you clear? What is the cost incurred for the second year? Up to second year, 574. For the first year, 161. Therefore, for the second year, how much? 574 minus 161, 413. Revenue for the second year is 464. Cost for second year is 413, resulting in a profit of 51 crores for the second year. So first year profit 19, second year profit 51. Okay. Hope you are able to follow, right? Third year. Third year it is 100% completed. The total 820 crores has been incurred. Out of total 820, 100% completed. So what should the revenue be recognized? Total 920 should have been recognized in 3 years. But out of that, 644 is already recognized in the first 2 years. 180 in the first year, 464 in the second year. Therefore, the revenue for the year 3 will be 276. What's the cost for the third year? Up to third year, 820. Up to second year, 574. Therefore, the cost incurred for the third year is 246 only. So revenue 276, cost 246, profit 30. So in 3 years period, the construction of the bridge was completed and the company made a profit of 100 crores. How I know 100 crores? Very easy. Contract price is 920, cost is 820. So what is the profit earned by the company in 3 years? 100 crores. But is it recognized end of 3 years? No. 19 crores in the first year, 51 in the second year, third year 30. So the end of every year you have to calculate what is the percentage of completion, what is the revenue for the year, what is the cost for the year, and therefore what is the profit for the year. So all that calculation we have done. Now finally, we should present it, is it not, in a proper manner? How to present it? These are the calculations. See carefully. Year 1, revenue, expense, profit. Year 2, and so on. Up to reporting date means up to first year. For example, here, up to first year 180, previous year 0. So for the year 180. Expense up to first year 161, previous year 0. So in the year is 161. Profit for the first year is 19. Last year no profit. Therefore, in the first year, profit is 19. What about second year? Revenue up to second year 644. 180 is already recognized in the first year. Therefore, what is revenue for the second year? 464. What is expense up to second year? 574. How much is already recognized in the first year? 161. So balance 413 is the cost for the second year. Therefore, the profit is 51. Now coming to the last year, 920 is the revenue up to third year. Out of that, 644 is already recognized in the first 2 years. Cost up to third is 820. Up to second year, 574. So 70 profit is already recognized in the first 2 years. Total profit is 100. So 100 minus 70, 30 will be the profit for the third year. So the total profit is 100. 19 is recognized in the first year. 51 in the second year. 30 in the third year. So this is how we have to get the correct answer. Find the number and title of the standard, record it, do the calculations correctly, present it appropriately. 4 tables you are preparing for the year 1, year 2, year 3. Finally, how do you present it? So easily Of course, provided your answer is right, easily you can score that full 8 marks in the exam. So friends, from the beginning, I've been telling you the question paper pattern, the planning, time management, the approach to exam, how to use the time in the exam, how to plan it, how much time to be spent for each question, in what order you have to present the question, and how to present the answer like that. Various information I've given you. I'm sure all this would have been very, very useful in your approach towards the exam. But I still have a little bit more to tell you. I will tell you that also. After that, we will have a session for queries, if any. Then we can finally say goodbye. Okay. Very simple, friend. These are very, very important points. Use black ballpoint pen only. CA Institute is very clear that you are not supposed to use blue color pen or green color or red color. For writing your answers, you should use black ballpoint pen only. Even ink pen, felt pen, and any other pen not allowed. The reason is very simple. Suppose you want to have a look at your paper after it is evaluated and you got the marks, you can seek the institute to send you a scanned copy. For scanning purpose, black ballpoint pen will be very, very visible. Probably that is a reason why the institute wants you to use black ballpoint pen only. So if you use any other color pen, it will not be evaluated. Ensure that you take only black ballpoint pen to the exam. Even by mistake, don't take a green color or a blue color pen. Take only black ballpoint pen. Take at least 3 pens with you, because if suppose by chance one doesn't write properly, you can use the next one. Even if that doesn't write properly, you can use the third one. So third also doesn't write properly. Maybe you can borrow one. You can always tell the invigilator, sir, this is what happened. Why don't you please help me? Definitely they will help you. Don't worry about that. But let us be on the cautious side. Let us go well prepared. Very, very important. So use black ballpoint pen only. Therefore, you should not use any highlighters, sketch pen. No other color than black should appear in your answer. Suppose you want to highlight something, don't take the brown color highlighter, yellow color, red color, rose color, sketch pen, not allowed, completely disallowed. You cannot use any other color pen. But sir, I want to highlight something. What I should do? Pencil. You can highlight with pencil. You can probably write something you want to bring attention to the examiner in bold letters or probably in capital letters. But what would be fine is write normally. If you want it to be highlighted to the examiner, you can underline it using pencil, or you can underline using your black pen itself. Please don't use any other color. In your best interest, I am telling you. But of course, sometimes some students by mistake have used some other color. After the exam, they come rushing to me and ask me, sir, I made this. What will happen? Generally, CA exams, they don't take it very seriously, but avoid it. Because unnecessarily that stress, the tension would be there in your minds, what may happen and all. So why to take that risk? Don't take any sketch pen. Don't take highlighter. Don't take blue color or green color, red color pen to exam. Take only black ballpoint pen, pencil, scale, rulers, eraser. And suppose you want to draw something, you need a compass or you want to set square or a protractor. You can take it, not a problem. But I don't think in accounting paper, all these scientific diagrams are there. So it's sufficient if you take a ruler and a pencil. Anyway, you need a pencil to darken the ovals, at some places in your booklet and so on. So other than pencil or black ballpoint pen, don't take any other type of pen, any other color. It is not allowed. Sir, whether in accounting paper, any theory questions will come? Yeah, very much possible. Even though the paper is accounting, advanced accounting, it's not that all the questions are based on calculation or numericals. Not necessary. There may be a question, okay, what are the conditions for buyback? There may be a question asking you what are the different methods of amalgamation. There may be a question asking you to write about what is capital adequacy ratio. There may be a question based on what is the meaning of internal reconstruction. There may be a question on why ESOP. Probably 5 to 10 marks in every paper theory will be there. But remember how to write answers for that. As I told you earlier also, friends, please understand. Don't write your answer in long sentences. Divide that into small, short and sweet sentences. Don't write it as a full paragraph. Break that into various points. Write it like point wise. Give bullet points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that you give. Whatever you believe is the answer, you write it. But don't make it too long. Don't make it too short. But break it into small sentences. Because the longer you write, the more grammatical mistakes you are going to make. Avoid that. Don't write full paragraph. Don't let it not be very lengthy and all. Write it point wise. For example, they ask you, okay, what are the conditions for buyback? Very simple. According to section 68, subsection 1 of Companies Act, buyback can be done out of free reserve, security premium, proceeds of fresh issue of share. These are the conditions to be satisfied. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 marks. Easily they'll give you. Don't start writing like a story and all. Nobody likes to read anything if it is given as a full paragraph without any, full stop or comma in between. So write it point-wise. Underline important points, balancing figures. Suppose you find some number as a balancing figure in a ledger. What you do is highlight it, put a box around that. Don't put, a round around that. Examiner may think it is wrong. Put a box so that examiner will see that. For example, you're doing a problem on internal reconstruction. You want to find what is the amount to be transferred to capital reserve. That will be a balancing figure in the capital reduction account, right? So prepare the cap reduction account ledger. Balance, you put a box around that. Examiner will see that. Oh, wonderful. You got the answer. He won't see anything else. So you want the examiner to see certain things only. So highlight that. Once there is anything that is highlighted, you have underlined something, you have put a box on anything, you have written something in bold letters or capital letters, immediately the examiner's attention is diverted towards it. Probably he will see that, okay, and if it is right, wonderful, they won't read anything else about the problem. Full marks may be given. I'm not asking you to divert the attention of the examiner, attract his attention. Because you should be knowing, guys, all said and done. An examiner is valuing paper under, lot of stress because the lives of various students is in their hands. So they don't do it recklessly, but they too are human beings. So naturally, they may get tired sometimes. So if you make their job easy, by attracting their attention to the important points, by underlining that, by putting a, box, it will make their task easy. And once you keep the examiner, happy, what will happen to you, you will get better marks. So underline important points and balancing figures. Friends, this is another very important point. Working notes. Many students ask me, sir, is it required to prepare working notes? I can do the problem in my mind itself. I don't want to show working notes at all, sir. I'm telling you clearly, friends. If you read the question paper itself, very clearly the question paper tells you that working notes should be presented as part of your answer. All working notes should be given as part of the answer. That means what? If working notes are not given, full marks will not be given. So wherever there is a requirement to prepare working notes, you prepare it and show it at the end of the solution. I also see some students showing working note first and then balance sheet last. No, suppose the problem asks you to prepare balance sheet. Your solutions first page should be the balance sheet, followed by notes, followed by working notes. Many students put working note first. For example, there is a problem on holding company accounts. They first show all the working note, then they show the balance sheet. That is not the correct way to present it. First page should be balance sheet, followed by notes, followed by working notes. You might ask me, sir, how can I do that, sir? Without doing working note, how can I prepare balance sheet? Can you not leave 2 blank pages? You have decided to do your problem on holding company. Okay, question number 5. Balance sheet, notes, accounts. Leave 2 pages blank. Go to 3rd page. Prepare the working notes. So the way you present it, I am again reiterating. The question did not ask you to prepare working note, but in order to do the problem, you are supposed to prepare the working note. But just because you prepare working note first, you should not show it first. You should show the balance sheet first, journal entries first, ledger accounts first. Working note should be shown at the end. And you'll be referring that working note in the main solution, is it not? For example, you got a capital reserve. You got a goodwill calculation in a holding company. You refer that goodwill according to, or refer working note number 3, goodwill. So that examiner will see, okay, how we got the goodwill of 1,80,000. He will go to working note number 3 and see, okay, from this he got the number. Like that capital reserve, working note number 2. Okay, you will go and see working note number 2, there capital reserve is there. Minority interest, working note number 5. So it is not sufficient just to prepare working note. You have to give it proper numbering for working note. Working note number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Working note number 5, calculating minority interest. Very good. You'll be showing that in the balance sheet, no? In the balance sheet, you write minority interest, working note number 5, the amount. So examiner job will be easy. He will go and see that working note number 5. Okay, you got the answer. From there, you got it. Very good. So you have to give detailed working notes. You may be very smart, you may be very intelligent, you might do all the calculation mentally. Fine, very good, we appreciate all that. But how do the examiner know how you got these numbers? You have to present it along with the solution, but not in the beginning, but at the end. So where to show, whether to show. Whether to show, yes. Where to show, at the end. Then only full marks will be given. Handwriting should be legible, is it not, friends? You're writing so many good things, but nobody understands that. What will happen? Understand the plight of the examiner. He has to, read, understand what you have written. Hundreds of different handwriting he has to see. Now, if your handwriting is not legible, the examiner doesn't understand. Even you might have written the correct answer, the best answer. But examiner doesn't understand. How can we expect him to give any marks to you? So legible. I'm not saying handwriting should be very beautiful handwriting, not handsome handwriting, not flamboyant. It should be legible. Anybody who reads it should be able to understand. Are you able to understand now? The examiner should understand what you have written. Only when he understands what you have written, you will be getting credit for your answer. If nobody understands what you have written, nobody can give you any marks for that. This is another point many students miss in the exam. Some question asks you to put journal entries. Yeah, you have done all the journal correctly, but you don't written the narrations. For every journal entry that you put in the exam, you are expected to write the narration. Because very clearly, the examiners have been given instruction by the CA Institute that if a student doesn't write narration for a journal, you can reduce marks on a whole. Probably the question carries 10 marks. You are asked to prepare journal entries. Suppose there are 10 journal entries. All the entries are correct. But by chance you missed out to write the narrations for that. Even though everything is right, examiner can give you 8 or 9 only. 1 or 2 marks will be deducted. Sir, writing narration takes time. Yeah, definitely. Then only you'll get marks. Will the examiner read the narration, sir? Yeah, they can, but they won't have time. What I would suggest is write the journal entry correctly, write something in the form of narration, being this, briefly, being a reduction in equity share of ₹10 to ₹2, something. Don't write a full story, but don't miss writing the narration. If there is no narration, even though the answer is fully correct, marks will be reduced. There will be a penalty of 1 or 2 marks on the whole. Are you able to understand? Right. But sometimes in the exam, they say narrations not required. Then don't give any narrations. See, if the question tells you narrations not required, don't write it. Why? Because by chance you wrote some narration and suppose examiner read it and there is a mistake in that, there is a possibility you may get less marks. But if the problem says past journal entries, full stop, they didn't say anything about narration, it means the outright narration. So don't forget, please remember to write narration for every journal entry, because if narrations are not written, examiner are allowed to reduce marks for that specifically. See, when you're presenting ledger accounts, P&L balance sheet should be presented in a proper, pleasant manner, is it not? Put lines using ruler, don't put lines in your own hand. You may go curved line, slanting line, all that. It looks very shabby. Put lines using ruler for every ledger account, P&L balance sheet, provided you have the time. If there is no time, leave it off. But I would suggest you should have time to do all these things. Then only the presentation is good. Naturally, examiner is pleased, and therefore you will be given the full credit for your answer. So any P&L balance sheet, what? The proper format you should write, particulars, note, amount column. Only 3 lines you have to draw. That's it. P&L, again, only 3 lines, particulars, note, rupees column. That's all. Ledger, you know how to prepare a ledger, just 1 line in between, perpendicular line. That's all. It doesn't take much time to draw the line, but it will fetch you a lot of value in the exam. So don't hesitate, to draw lines when you're asked to present the ledger accounts, P&L and balance sheet. This is another point many students miss. For example, the question number 6 may consist of 4 or 5 subdivisions. An internal choice may be there. 5 may be given us to write any 4, 5s or 20, like that they may ask you. Short notes question, theory question. Many students miss this. I'm telling you, please don't miss this. Why? Because you'll be writing something about what you know about that. Is it not? You'll get at least some marks. There's a guarantee of minimum marks when you write something. Don't miss that. Suppose you take a problem carrying 10 marks, you start doing it, you are unable to get the answer, the time is lost, you don't get any marks. That is not the case in case of, in the case of short note question. You know something about the write something, you will get minimum marks. So suppose a 10-mark question is there, 2 5-mark small theory question, write it. At least you'll get 4 or 5 out of that, if not 8 or 9. So there is a guarantee of minimum marks if you write answers to short note question. If I were in your place, rather than solving a big problem, I will write 4 small short note question. I'll get 12 or 14 marks in the place of doing a bigger problem and getting only 8 or 10 marks. Now, friends, I think I have come to the end of my presentation. So if you have any doubts, any queries, any questions, you are free to ask me. I am available for the next 15-20 minutes to answer all your questions. I am ready to take questions from now. Hemnath, you can coordinate and send me if there are any questions.
Radha is a CA inter student. She have also joined the call here.
Okay.
Radha, if you have any questions, you can ask now. I will meanwhile check in the list also.
Radha, you can unmute and speak to me.
A very much hello to you, namaskaram to you, sir, and I'm glad for attending your whole session. And actually, I would like to thank you also. But before that, I will like to ask the query that I didn't knew that, for example, there are 5 questions, right? We can attempt it in any sequence. But my query is, for example, I'm attempting question number 5 and A, B, C, D, and I'm jumbling it in D, E, C, A like this. So is it appropriate to do it? It will not create a negative impression on the examiner. That was my query.
No, you can attempt in any order you want, but you should attempt all the parts in one place. There is no need to, present the answer in the order in which it is given. Okay, you can do C and then A and then B, no problem at all. But everything should be given in one place.
In one place. So in all 5 questions, if I do this internal jumbling, so it will not be an issue.
No problem. No problem at all.
Okay, sir. Thank you. My doubts are being solved. I don't have any other respective queries. But sir, but actually when I had got an attempt, because for example, what blunder I used to do is 20 marks question you said, right? It's of amalgamation. So I attempted amalgamation. But at times, sir, can you tell me a short tips or summarize tips that how to solve that amalgamation question in a particular way if full-fledged question is being asked? So sir, I get lost in it. I don't know that where to make a link between it so that the tally, so the question doesn't get tallied. So that's the main issue cropping up.
That's why I told you, if you get a problem, lengthy problem carrying 15-20 marks, better avoid that. If you do not have any other option, only you have to do it. There are many other problems carrying 5 marks, 8 marks, 10 marks. Attempt that first. Doing a problem on amalgamation of holding company in the exam is quite a tough task. And of course, finally, you'll have to tally also. That's going to be very, very tough. There is, of course, if you ask me the order, I can tell you what is asked. They're asking you the journal entries, right? But in order to put the journal entry, first you have to do the calculation of purchase consideration. You should have a visualization of how many journal entries may be there. Accordingly, you have to leave adequate space first. Suppose they're asking you to put journal entry in the books of the purchasing company. Maximum 1 page will be there. Because 3 entries are minimum, it can be more than 3, 5, 6 also possible. So how much space you will need? Maybe 1.5 pages. Leave 2 pages. Then do the consideration calculation. After that, they may ask you to prepare the balance sheet. Then show the balance sheet, and immediately after balance sheet, you have to show the notes to balance sheet. But depending upon what is asked in the exam, sometimes the question asks you, show the balance sheet, that's all. Then the first page balance sheet should be shown, followed by notes. You don't have to put any journal entries and all. If you just show the working note for calculation of consideration, that would be sufficient. See, what happens most of the time is students do more than what is required. We don't ask you journal entry, but you do journal entry. You prepare ledger account. We didn't ask you. We asked you only balance sheet. If you do that only, that is sufficient. No need to do beyond that. So all that can be compensated by preparing working notes. So reading the problem thoroughly, understanding it, what is the requirement of the problem is very, very essential. Remember, in every problem on amalgamation, there will be at least one working note for calculation of purchase consideration that you should not avoid. But after calculating consideration, see whether it is a problem on merger or purchase. Suppose it is purchase, then you have to compare the consideration with the net assets of the transfer or company. The difference, if any, will be goodwill or capital reserve. For that, you have to prepare another working note. So once you get these two working notes correctly, then preparing balance sheet is very simple. The line by line, you have to add the assets and liabilities. Capital will be what? Already the capital issued by the transferring company. Plus, now they have issued fresh shares, you get added. Suppose the amalgamation nature of purchase resulted in capital reserve that will form part of reserves and surplus. Maybe you have issued shares at a premium, security premium will appear. Otherwise, you have to simply add the assets and liabilities line by line. Preparing balance sheet will be very, very simple. So that is the order you have to follow when you present an answer on amalgamation. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And generally, I also get many doubts from the other students that, for example, in accounting standards, okay, because it's consisting of 20 to 27 marks weightage. So at times it happens that in one of the questions, there is a twist. For example, we don't understand because whether it's AS4 or AS29 or the mixture of both. It can be possible that there are the mixture of both, but we need to justify our answer with accordance with that 5 marks. So it becomes very lengthy. So now how to manage it, like if there is a combo of both AS?
Mostly the confusion is in your mind. It is not in the question. I can tell you, because AS4, AS29 are completely different. You have to understand it carefully. In AS4, we have contingency, but that contingency is not covered by AS29. So if you are confused, then you have to read the standard thoroughly once again. Yes, there is a possibility. Yes, there is a possibility a question may cover more than one standard. Then one standard will be primary in the question. Your answer should be based on that. But you should say additionally, okay, this application is also there. For example, there could be an events occurring after the balance sheet date. That could be extraordinary also. Then AS4 and AS5 both will come. Then you should write first according to AS4, this is event after the balance sheet date. And this is adjusting or non-adjusting. If it is adjusting, is it extraordinary or ordinary? Then how would you present it? So AS4 and 5 couple may be there, but very rare. At intermediate level, I don't think such kind of questions appear very frequently. But if you're unfortunate, yeah, I wish you don't get that kind of questions in the exam. Final level, yes, definitely we will test you like that.
Very true, sir. But actually what happens, why I quoted 4 and 29 is because, for example, in the question, it is given with regards to provisions. So now we are also dealing with the contingencies and all. It creates a confusion that, okay, now which to allot? Like,
that's what, yeah. No, let me tell you. See, AS29 talks about provision which will appear on the liability side of balance sheet. AS4 discuss about contingencies, which will be a reduction from the asset side. If there is clarity in this, then there is no confusion. AS29 talks about provision which will appear on the liability side. Any provision you make as per AS29 will appear on the liability side of balance sheet. The contingency which you discuss in AS4, it will be an impairment of the trade receivable. Let us be very specific. The contingency discussed in AS4 is with respect to impairment of trade receivable only. That is not covered by AS29. AS29 covers what? Provision for guarantee, warranty, taxation, honor. It doesn't cover provision for doubtful debts. It doesn't cover provision for depreciation. It doesn't cover provision for impairment. Are you able to understand? So any provision that you're supposed to make as per AS29 will appear on the liability side of balance sheet. It will not be a reduction from the asset side. AS 29 also covers contingent asset and contingent liability. Anywhere that won't appear anywhere in the balance sheet, but whether it is a contingent asset or not, that we have to find out based on the circumstances. But it's contingent asset, we can say the management is free to decide whether to disclose it or not. If they want, they can recognize also that it is virtually certain. As regards contingent liability, they don't have any such liberty. It has to be disclosed in the notes to account. So AS4 and 29, actually there is no confusion. The confusion is in the minds of the students. Probably you have to learn it a little bit more clear. That is my suggestion.
Yeah, I'm really thankful to you, sir, and giving a thank you note for you for this session. I would like to give a thank you note that since
My pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah, Himnat, can I give a thank you note?
Yes, you can proceed. Yes.
Okay,
Why
fine.
not?
Yeah. So
If I deserve
Kasturi,
it, you can definitely.
you definitely deserve it, sir. Even I was astonished to know that the way you showed with regards to the planning, how you can plan your answers and how you can review it and you can complete the paper in 2 hours 30 minutes. So actually, sir, I used to write the paper till the end. What blunder actually I used to make is take the big questions first. I didn't used to take for example, accounting standards questions at first. Even if I take it first, then I used to make some blunders. For example, if AS20 is being asked, so it used to be very confusion that how to calculate it, and I used to get mistakes. So for that, with regards to conceptual clarity, I had, but I used to forget at that time while the examinations. But now, as you said, with regards to proper planning, you can make the things very much easy. So with regards to it, sir, I'm really thanking you that it clearly shows that how much experienced you are in this field. Within the gist of this many hours, you are just able to explain it so easily, so lucidly. So I'm really thankful to you on behalf of other students too, sir. Thank you.
It's my pleasure, Ma. And I thank the CA Institute for providing this opportunity and Hemnath for coordinating this session. Thank you so much, guys. And shall we wind up or you have anything else?
One thing, sir. Some students have
Yeah.
requested for the PPT also. Is it possible for you to share? If you are willing, we can share, or
It's not possible to share this.
okay. Yes.
Anyway, this will go live on YouTube, right?
Yes.
You can definitely see what's the point in sharing this and all.
Correct.
This is something which I have to keep it with myself. I'm not interested in sharing this with anybody. Okay.
Fine, sir. Understood, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. There is no question in YouTube. Any specific question? There is no question. We can wind up, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sikasa, for organizing the wonderful classes. It's very useful for the students. Thank you so much, sir. We can wind up.
Thank you. All the best to all of you. Bye.